this?
No, you're good. What is up, everyone? Back of the Pack podcast live here on Fantasy Focus, brought to you by the original Hooters. Ryan Levy here with Alex Freeman and Fantasy Focus legend Mr. Buckey. How you gents doing?
Doing great. Glad to see the three of us getting ready for some NASCAR action on this beautiful Sunday. 9 weeks since our last race. Rather excited to have Buckey along. It's going to be a fun sprint here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I will never claim to be the enthusiast / expert such as you, Alex, but I love the sport. I love watching races. I love getting involved in betting pools regarding just random draws, which I think we're getting into here.
Oh, yeah.
And I just can't wait to pick your brain about Darlington because from what I understand, it's a tight track. It is a tough place to race. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's one hotel in Darlington. One hotel. I Googled this.
Yes.
Like, it makes no sense why it's in Darlington. I guess like proximity between Charlotte and then Columbia, but who knows? You know, closest place that has any sort of pulse is Florence, South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I mean, these people have just been living the dream in their RVs, I assume.
Oh man, yeah, they have, and they're living the dream. That's for sure. I wish I could be anywhere near that spot right now, man. I know it's even though there's not the hundreds of thousands of fans that are usually a part of these races. Just the being around this is going to be electric, considering what we've been through as a community, as a group, as a land over the past couple of weeks and months. So excited to see some live action, some beating and banging. One of the first major sports to get going here, and arguably one of the largest to really hit the gas, if you will, and get going again.
Well, Levy's got the hat, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, he does.
Actually, when we first started the Back of the Pack podcast last year at some point, as I was just getting into NASCAR, before I even went to my first race, Alex, who I used to work with, bought me this hat. And I was like, man, this is the sickest hat ever.
It's killer with the Yachtman's rope across the front of it. Like,
so Darlington's known for being the throwback track, and this is one of the first, like what they call them, rope hats. They're a throwback, event. And to kind of give you a quick taste, Darlington kind of fell off the map in the mid to late 2000s from a relevance standpoint, and they were fighting. They went from two races a year to one race, and they really had this throwback theme that revitalized the track and has really brought it to where it is now, to be again a real crown jewel on the schedule.
I love it, man. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to get into our DFS picks on Monkey Knife Fight. If you guys have never played Monkey Knife Fight before and you want to play, there is a 12x multiplier contest today, which is awesome. So you put $10 down on a contest and you go 5 for 5 on your picks. Well, you could win yourself $120 on 10.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is 10 times 12, right? Yep.
We're gonna break that one down too at some point. Keep the guys and gals waiting and excited.
We are, but we got to do this real quick. So there's 8 of us, and I want to do this live on the air here, so I don't get accused of cheating. But we're each throwing in $20, and we've got 32 drivers in this hat here. Each participant will get 4 drivers. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. Shout out to Pete's Picks, the golf expert, Dustin, at the 8th spot with the first pick. He's got Boyer as his driver. Any initial thoughts while I'm picking hats there, gents?
Oh, Boyer's had some bad luck with the lady in black. We talked about it on the podcast earlier this week. Not someone who has had a real enjoyable time in South Carolina making his rounds here at the Egg. So I don't know if he's going to get a W, but at least I think he'll be around at the finish.
Who really has the best time of their life in South Carolina, though? Let's be honest.
True.
The ones on the beach, probably, when it's not hurricane season.
Yeah, fair.
Next up, we got Joe coming in with Corey LaJoy. I don't know much about him. Probably not great for your first pick.
He's got great odds for a top 10, baby.
Okay. All right. So next up, we got Bloom getting Bubba Wallace.
All right.
I like some Bubba.
Yes, sir.
Freeman
Bubba's taking some splashes.
Freeman coming in with Truex Jr.
Oh, I know someone would love to see that. That'd be Phil. Phil's a big Truex guy. He's been texting me all week saying Truex. So if he wins, I guess I got to give him some love.
In terms of personality, I love Martin Truex Jr. He's just one of the good shits in NASCAR.
Yeah, he is. He's one of the good down-home boys.
Yep.
Next up, we got Bobo, Austin Dillon in a 3-car. Love me some Dillon.
Just get me Kenseth, man.
We got Genevieve with William Byron.
Okay.
Bucky, you're up next. You're gonna go with Kenseth.
Yeah!
Oh my God!
Boom!
No,
I knew it. Look, it was written. So a bit of background. I got into NASCAR. I'd always had like a passive interest in it, meaning big races you'd watch. But I became a fan of the sport in 2009 when I was given Matt Kenseth Daytona, and he won. And it was a massive, like 43 different people, $20, a massive pot. And Kenseth came through. And it was a tight race too. I was pumping my fist so goddamn hard the whole time. The rush of that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. So I was on board. I've been a Kenseth rider since day one. And now he's back, having gone through what he went through. The fact that, it took what it took for him to get back in the mix, and we don't need to speak on it. He's back, and I'm fired up. Number one pick. I'm ready. I'm going to
win. What are the chances?
6:45 Pacific time this morning. I'm getting texts from Bucky about Kenseth. So he was excited about him, and I love to see it. Fate had it here that you got him.
You're talking about Matt Kenseth? Matt Kenseth,
that's it.
Go ahead and race real good.
All right, the old boy C-Toy coming in with Michael McDowell.
Another one we talked about earlier this week. Hopefully you get better luck on your second draw there, friend.
Yeah, so we're going to do snake draft. So Mr. Toy's going to get back-to-back here. He's going to go with Joey Gase. Gase?
Yep.
Not great. Not great 2 picks there, Mr. Toy. Bucky is going to go with Chris Buescher.
Yeah, Chris Buescher. He's one of the people that I'm going to be looking at here as the season progresses to really have good top 3, top 10 odds. He's in a middle of the pack machine that has strong ownership, strong factory support that can really excel at some of these intermediate and super speedway tracks. So look for him to have good value moving forward after the season.
All right, Genevieve's going to have Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Stenhouse.
Whatever.
Sten.
I just work here. I'm just the hat puller. Newman is going to go to Bobo. I like that.
Yes. Newman and Kenseth, either one of those guys have a win or a strong finish, man. Is that going to be just, again, like we said earlier this week, it's a Ricky Bobby-esque storyline, man. I'm excited for that.
You just missed it. We were talking Ricky Bobby on our last show. We were drafting sports characters. It was funny. But Freeman, you've got Smithley.
Oh, all right.
Hate to see that one.
The look on Alex's face there was not good.
Bloom coming in, following up Bubba Wallace with Chase Elliott, my boy.
All right.
Representing.
Turn left, Chase.
All right. Joe Siga has got Kurt Busch.
I always love
a lot of professional money is on the Busch brothers to win today. Both Busch brothers have relatively strong stats here. Kyle Busch, of course, a lot more successful at this track, but again, Kurt Busch is a veteran driver, so both Busch brothers have a good chance. I don't think they're going to take the W, but a lot of the big books have money on them.
I love it, man. We're going to have to get into the more or less fantasy points here shortly once we get through this. I'm going as quick as I can. Dustin coming up with JJ Yelly?
There you go.
All right, cool. So back-to-back picks there for Dustin. Old Pete's picks. He's got Slowy Logano. That's a good pick. Coming back here to Jed, who's got Eric Jones.
Okay. Another guy we talked about. Recent win, good consistency. Actually one of the highest rating driver averages in the last 4 starts here.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
Bloom coming in with Jimmy Johnson. I love some JJ.
Give me old Cole Custer. Give me old Cole Custer on the wraparound here.
Cole Custer. He's up there. I think he's finished. He's starting in 12, right?
No, Kenseth is.
Okay, he's up there somewhere. Tyler Reddick for Mr. Freeman there.
Horizon rookie. I like him in some top 3 and top 10 action. He's someone to look out for.
Oh man, Bobo just loaded up here. Dylan Newman and Kyle Busch.
Oof.
Gross. Hate to see that.
That's tough.
We all might not like this guy.
That is a tough stable to deal with there. All right, Mean Gene here. Genevieve. Ryan Blaney. Like it.
Good under radar pick. I like it.
Bucky, you're up here next. You've got I don't know how to pronounce that one.
Oh, Eric Almirola.
Almirola.
There
Yep.
we go.
That's a good pick. I like that. Kenseth and Almirola. I'm in.
All right. Toy has got Bowman.
Bowman's starting second. He's smushed around a bunch of Fords, but someone who I think will overachieve today.
Love it. And Chris Bell.
Another rising rookie. He dumped Matt DiBenedetto out of his seat in the 95 this year for Levy Family Racing. So good to see him on the track.
Yeah, that's surprising too. That was one of those things where DiBenedetto really had a good run there for a couple of years, and now
yeah, and arguably he upgraded equipment. So we'll see what comes of both of those guys' stories here.
Bucky, you're not going to love that.
Right. Oh, he's going to win it now. Now that you said it.
He's a hard charger. That guy had the dirt background, so he exceeds at tracks like this, riding the rim of the racetrack up against the wall. Definitely a sleeper there too.
I got two Chevys and a Ford. I'm looking good.
I love it. All right, so Bobo wraps it up with DiBenedetto. Man. Or sorry, that was Gene. That was Gene. My bad. Bobo, you have
Genevieve has DiBenedetto, and then Kyle Harvick.
So Bobo has the most stacked team you could possibly imagine.
Did Bobo get Harvick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvick, Dillon, Busch, and Boyer?
Harvick, Busch, Newman, Dillon. Yep.
This is some stacked shit.
Freeman's got Kowski.
Okay, I'll take Kez. Starting on the pole. Okay.
Flumer. Quinn Hoff.
Surely a back of the pack guy. I could be grabbing the wrong beer. I need to trash this one.
You want to know what's embarrassing here? Didn't include myself. Cole Custer.
Oh, Cole Custer's my guy. That's like he was the guy that I took a liking to when Kenseth left the sport. What a name. Oh, and Denny Hamlin.
Danny Hamlin for Mr. Dustin there. Dustin hasn't paid yet, so I'm going to split this entry fee with him.
I'm not a Hamlin guy.
I love Denny. Why are you hating on my boy?
I'm glad I'm between you guys in the stream because Ryan may throw punches for that.
It's my guy.
There's just certain things about Denny Hamlin I just don't like. He's not aggressive enough.
He's a good driver, though.
He is. I like my guys to be renegades out there.
I love it. All right, so let's get into a little DFS talk, shall we, boys?
Let's do it.
How are we feeling headed into today? We're with Monkey Knife Fight.
I got a lot of action. Ready to run through a couple of the picks. From the start, my favorite's Harvick. I think he's going to have a really good run. High probability to overachieve his more or less score, as well as Keselowski, who's starting from the pole. So I look for both of those guys to have good starts. Keselowski starting on the pole. As we mentioned, this race may have a little bit of a lazy start, so look for the person who's starting out front to potentially get some free points in that first 30-lap run leading into the competition caution.
I dig it. So let's break down the scoring real quick for those who have never played on Monkey Knife Fight before. I think that would be a good thing to do. So the premise is pretty much more or less in a lot of these contests in terms of fantasy points. So fantasy points can be described as first place, you're getting 20 points. Second, 19, all the way down to 20th, where we'll get to 1 point. Every lap you lead, you get a 10th of a point as well. So the first contest on Monkey Knife Fight is Harvick versus Keselowski. So basically, you're getting 3 times your buy-in. So you buy in for $10. You're going to get 30 in return if you hit both of them correctly. And they're both set at 17.5 points, which is tough. More or less fantasy points. 17.5 for Harvick and Keselowski. Freeman, what do you got?
So from the start, I've been high on Kevin Harvick. I was even putting him at at 18.5. Why that's leading 50 laps conservatively and finishing in the top 10, which is extremely achievable for a veteran like Kevin Harvick, who has success, as we mentioned, across all these different iterations of the NASCAR and these generations and packages from 800 horsepower to 550. So he knows how to wheel this track. I think he's a lock at more than 17.5. I'd even take him at 18.5. And then for Keselowski, as we mentioned a second ago, he's starting from the front. He has a lot of Ford support around him. I look for him to lead at least 20 of the first 30 laps. That's 2 points in the bag right there. So are we going to go more or less on Keselowski at 15.5 for 5, 6 of the race, I say yes more. So I'm going to go more on both of these guys out of the gate on our first more or less for Monkey Knife Fight.
So this is the first question I have for you, Alex, because you're the brainiac of the bunch here. Okay. Do you think that there's going to be just a little bit of cautiousness to this first 30 laps before we start letting it loose? And if that's the case, Keselowski, in my opinion, stands to get that over.
Yeah, I'm confident that if we have a clean start and we don't have a caution in that first 30 laps, the guys are going to let things fall into place. You're not going to see the 2 and 3 wide going into turn 1. You're going to see Keselowski get to the gas. He may be up in front of Bowman before they even get into turn 1, riding the wall. So expect the front guys to play a little nicer. These folks that maybe feel disserviced by having a bad drawing towards the back of their qualifying group, maybe the ones that are beating and banging further back, that in NASCAR, cautions breed cautions. If we have multiple cautions in that first 30 laps, I'm going to start freaking out for what my points projection was for some of these front runners. So I expect some laziness in the start from a battling perspective, and hope that those first 30 laps allow these guys to settle back into their seats.
God, that analysis is just sexy. It's gonna be a bloodbath out there today. I hope we win some money.
I want Keselowski to get a couple points in the bag out of the start, and then it's going to be a bloodbath. And then at the end, I expect to see the Hamlins and the Harvicks and the Keselowskis, and even the Bowmans and the Blaney's up front. So big names up front. I expect the veterans and the big power and money to prevail today.
I'm excited to get into some of these other contests as well. And again, if you guys are just joining us on the live stream, hit us with your comments. Who you got to win? You gambling today? You playing DFS? What are you doing? Next Monkey Knife Fight contest here is called Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is essentially you are picking one driver against the other. If you get 3 of 3 correct, again, 3x your buy-in. So you buy in for $10, you're going to get 30 in return. So first matchup here of the 3 is Kevin Harvick starting in the 6th spot versus Keselowski in the 1 spot. So you're getting a plus half a point on Harvick. You go on the Harvick side or the Keselowski side there, Freeman?
I'm going to go with Harvick because of the plus half of a point differential. And I think that, the drivers that are in the middle to the back of that top 10 will have a little bit more incentive to work on their car. So when thinking about leaders in NASCAR, the Brad Keselowskis who are going to be leading that first 30 laps may not have the knowledge of what they need to do to make their car better, especially considering how long it's been since we've been on the racetrack. So the cars that are behind other cars in pack, in dirty air, seeing some of the challenges of driving in the pack are going to be more equipped to adjust their car for the race moving forward. So I think Harvick's going to prevail here with the differential and in the long run.
Ooh, I like it, man. Next up, this one's tough. So the second wave here of this contest would be Chase Elliott or Joey Logano. If you go Logano's side, you're getting plus 1.5 points. That's a pretty big spread there. That's a pretty big advantage.
Especially considering how close they're starting together. What's your take on this one, Bucky?
I like Logano. I mean, as much as I'm not going to have a beer with Joey Logano anytime soon, I'm going to go with the racer that is Joey Logano. Especially he's an underdog here. I'll take the 1.5.
Yeah, and people forget this, man. Joey Logano's a past champion in this last few years. Like, he's someone who is sliding under the radar. Before we went live, he was someone that we were talking about. He was the youngest guy to win a NASCAR at 19 years old just a few years ago. He's on the brink of turning 30. Like, he's been in the car for a long time. Yeah. He's a wise veteran. I expect him to do well, but at the same time, Chase Elliott is someone who thrives at a track like this in a little bit of the unknown. He's an up and comer. He's a hard charger. To be honest with you, I have 2 different plays on this rapid fire 3 of 3 where I picked both of them. But my first bet was Logano, and I'm going for the big, to hit all 3 of them.
Okay.
But Logano's hot though, right? I mean, mind you, we've had a 9-week hiatus here, but he won 2 of the first 4 races.
Yeah, and he's in a Ford. Again, he's starting in the top 10. 80% of winners here at Darlington come from the top 10. It's a track position game here. It's a dirty track. There's a lot of stuff that can bite you. So just playing the numbers, playing the odds, you would go with Logano. But again, there are so many intangibles. We don't know the tire wear here. This track is completely green. We could go out and Logano could pop a left rear and hit the wall in 7 laps. We just don't know.
Plus,
So
no, they had 0 qualifying, right? So
0.
Nobody's raced it.
Nothing. They've primed the engines. They're making sure their cars are humming. But when they take the seat here and they roll out for the parade laps, these guys are going to be buckling into a full speed NASCAR event in a matter of minutes. If you look at the start schedule, these guys are going to be getting in their car at 3:40, and the track goes green at 3:53 Eastern time. So they're going from 9 weeks of chilling, being iRacers, to going from a motorhome into a 200 mile an hour, 500 horsepower beast in a matter of what it takes you to walk a mile.
Go with the veterans.
The thing that stands out to me is simply, can you imagine? You're used to your ebb and flow of your weekly race preparation, and then this happens. And yes, they're all jonesing to get behind the wheel, but holy shit, these guys are stepping behind that wheel, and they will be full bore without doing anything on this track prior to.
And
how do you think that affects the race as a whole?
It nerves, and to throw even more wrinkles in here, it's a hard track, and you have rookies, you have young guns, you have Newman and Kenseth coming back who are even more green than the rest of the field. So there's so many intangibles, even if it was for a quote unquote simpler track, a more cookie cutter track. But you're at Darlington, you're at the Lady in Black. It's a track that is known for just destroying equipment, tearing people up, and hurting a bunch of feelings. So this is a coin flip. I don't expect Chase Elliott to win the race, but I could see a Logano either kind of going for a checkers or wreckers. He's a guy who is locked into the playoffs right now. If he's in second place and with 2 laps to go, he's someone who has shown that he will put a bumper to someone, putting his checkered flag and someone else at jeopardy, and that can greatly impact his results in a situation like this.
I've never heard checkers or wreckers. I'm in.
Dude, he's got all sorts of one-liners.
Rubbing, racing, checkers or records. Let's go with all of them, man.
I love it.
Elliott would be winning though if he was wearing that Hooters fit today. I don't think he's rocking Hooters today. So.
He's in the white and blue Napa. So hopefully when we see him back in those Hooters orange and white colors, he's hooting up front.
I do like the idea though of kind of hedging yourself here and playing at both sides here, just entering the contest twice and mixing up the middle race here. Because look, Elliott's starting at 11, Logano at 9, and the 1.5 point plus for Logano, I think is too hard to pass up on right now. So you guys know I'm an Elliott fan, but I'm going to go the Logano side as well. So the third series here. So just to recap, we've got Harvick at plus half, Logano at plus 1.5. And then the third, this is interesting. It's Kurt Busch versus Denny Hamlin. And it's only Kurt Busch plus a half. Busch is starting at the 22nd spot, Hamlin at the 10. Who you got here, Freeman?
I'm going Hamlin. I've been standing true on the Kurt Busch and the Boyers being 2 of the veteran drivers who may not have the best success here today, just based on historical numbers and considering all the intangibles in the mix. I'm going to still say heavy on Denny Hamlin here as I try and combine my words, but think that again, even with a half-point differential, 12 starting positions at Darlington in a race like this is going to be a tough hill to climb. And, the race itself is 400 miles. Those first 30 laps is not going to be a lot of time to make up a track position. And that first pit stop, you're not going to be able to change position. So the cars get to come down pit road, make their adjustments, and as long as they stay on the race, the lead lap, they're going to reassume their position. So there's going to be a lot less strategy involved to shake up the running order for some of these drivers. In the past, when there's been delays like this, let's say for a rain delay, some drivers can take 2 tires or 4 tires to leapfrog their competitors for a strategy play. This won't be present here. So the first 30 laps are kind of a freebie, a standalone race where you can't really leverage that pit road time to jump ahead. So it's going to be harder for these individuals in the back half of the field to make up as much as they could have in the past.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hamlin there as well.
Yeah, I'm on board with Hamlin there. But Neat Mike for president, thanks for joining us, man. My name is Ryan. This is Alex here in the middle, and that's Bucky there on the end. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll show you what we win after today, buddy. Why don't you come on into Monkey Knife Fight, use our code, and get yourself a deposit bonus, because apparently we've never won a thing. If you want to win for the first time in your life, Neat Mike for president, come on in and play with us. But we got a question here from Brooklyn Juice. Is Keselowski a bad pick this week?
No, I don't think so. It depends on your lineup and your style of play and what kind of DFS point systems you're going at. I think he's a viable pick for a win, a top three, and even in a matchup with a Kevin Harvick in a situation like this. I just have a strong preference for Harvick, considering all that he has achieved and how much success he's had here at the track. And in the end, we have to make a pick. I'm going to go with Harvick, but still think that Keselowski is a viable pick on a number of fronts.
I dig it. All right, shall we get into the third Monkey Knife Fight contest? This is another rapid fire. This one's only 2.2 times your buy-in, so you only got to go 2 of 2 correctly here. It is Logano and Elliott again. So are we going to go with Logano plus 1.5?
I'm going to go with the 1.5.
Freeman?
I like that. Yep, it's we're staying true to what we were in our last rapid fire, and this is kind of an abbreviated version of the last one, if you will. So giving you a chance to try your true colors. I'm going to stick with it here. Take Harvick at plus 0.5 point, as well as sticking with Logano at 1.5.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure you weren't hedging on us, you know?
Not yet.
All right, so let's get into the more or less here. I like this format. You get 2.5 times your buy-in, and you only have to pick 3 of 4 correct here. So you've got a little bit more room for error here. So let's start out with Kevin Harvick, the 17.5 fantasy points, more or less, Alex.
I'm going to go more here. I'm riding the Harvick train till the end of this race. If it crashes and burns, so be it. So will the money. But I'm picking Harvick here again, plus 17.5. Even if it was 18.5, I would take him.
Alex, I got a question for you. Who is your favorite racer?
Oh, I was a big Earnhardt guy, man. Through growing up, I had family in the sports who would work at the tracks and had some ties to the organizations and really followed a lot of the DEI racers and inevitably the Earnhardts. Ever since Junior has really found his way into the broadcast booth, I like the young guns. I like the Blaney's. I was really pulling for Larson here coming to the year because he was a hard charger and growing until he really hit a snag, if you will. I've really been liking what Blaney's been doing. Alex Bowman's coming up the field. He's in the 88, so he's a natural person for me to gravitate towards. So at the moment, I'm pulling for the Blaney's and the Bowmans of the class.
Okay. All right. No, I like that. I like that you've pivoted to the young guns. I think that's only natural, for a fan of your stature.
But I love the veterans, man. The stories for Kenseth coming back, man. Like nothing will make me happier than to see him achieve at a high level and really bring Chip Ganassi Racing back to where it was in weeks and months and years past. So hopefully they can recover quickly. Hopefully we can see both the Kurt Busch and Kenseth in victory lane because they do have very strong equipment with Chevy backing.
Here's my argument on Kenseth for this race. Everybody has zero experience on this track in the current year, right? So, he's coming back at a perfect time to capitalize and hopefully score some points, Monkey Knife Fight style.
Amen. He's going to catch him sleeping. I think he's going to be there and be strong. And again, overachieve from what some of the bookmakers are projecting.
I'd love to see Jimmy Johnson win personally, but Brooklyn, we'll get to your other question here in a second. I just want to finish up the fourth Monkey Knife contest here. So Keselowski, I believe you said we're going over on him, or sorry, more on him as well. Correct?
More. Yeah. 17.5. I'll go more.
Yep. All right. So Chase Elliott, 15.5. That feels really low for him.
What do they know that we don't?
Right.
That's what I think. And if I'm looking back at a lot of the numbers and the stats, Chase Elliott had led a couple laps here in the last visit, but he didn't have the sustained speed through the stages. So something that Hendrick had been lacking at over the last couple of years until recent is being able to sustain the speed and keep up with the others through these stages at these intermediate tracks, non-super speedway tracks. So this is something that I throws a curveball here. I mixed up my Chase Elliott plays on the rapid fires and more or less. I'm going to go with a less on this one just to hedge bets against some other mores that I had locked in for Chase. But think that something's going to go wrong with someone, and you gotta take a chance somewhere.
Bucky, any thoughts there?
I tip my cap to Mr. Freeman there.
I can't ever bet against Chase Elliott, man. He's Mr. Hooters, even though he's not rocking Hooters today. So I don't feel like I need to cheer for him.
He's not that. He's turned.
Screw him. Take
He's
the
Darth
left.
Vader, man. He's Anakin Skywalker. Get rid of his ass.
Get rid of his ass. All right, the last one is Slowy Logano. His is set really low too. 14.5.
More, baby.
More.
Or
Yeah, more. Again, starting ninth. He's in similar equipment to Keselowski, Blaney. These guys are, they've had, as Bucky's talking about, he's already succeeded this year. He has the ability to just power through and be more successful than others around him because of his communication style and his leadership that's on his team. He has very senior engineers and crew chiefs that know how to work with him. That will prevail in the second half of this race, and I think it'll show with some of these vets.
I love it. All right, so to recap the fourth monkey knife fight contest, the more or less here, we've got Harvick more than 17.5, Keselowski more than 17.5, Elliott less than 15.5, Logano more than 14.5. So let's get into a couple questions here before we get into the fifth contest. What min to min priced plays are viable to mix in with the studs? Anyone you would recommend? Now, I don't know if she's talking DraftKings here or what, but any lower end guys you got your eye on today?
Yeah, so let's assume that you're talking about playing straight up for someone who's a top 3 or top 10 long shot. I think someone like a Tyler Reddick is an awesome, viable, kind of a cheaper play to win big. If I'm looking at my numbers here very quickly, I look at a Tyler Reddick, who's a plus 175 for a top 10 or a plus 1600 for a top 3. 175 are good odds for a driver like that. He's an RCR equipment. He is someone who has shown success running the top side at tracks. He won a championship in the Xfinity Series by running the wall the whole race at Homestead, Miami in years past. So he's a hard charging driver. He doesn't take any crap. He seems like a driver that Bucky would love. And I hope that as Reddick kind of comes up the field here, he is someone that that appeals to Bucky. He's a fresh face on the circuit, and is someone that can win you some money.
yes, Alex, he is absolutely on my radar. And can we just weigh in on the fact that the Xfinity Series changing from Busch, the fact that Busch let everybody down in America by not upholding their contractual agreements here to be the secondary NASCAR, I mean, it's bullshit.
It's still the Busch series,
right?
Always and forever. And the good thing is, you still have Anheuser-Busch in the Cup series. And when they made that transition from the Winston or Sprint series to be this more premier series, they're one of their 4 primary sponsors, and of course still sponsoring Kevin Harvick. So we got our buddies at Bud still in the mix, but it does suck that I have the Busch.
No,
series
it's not right,
series.
Alex. It's not right. You need Busch in NASCAR,
right?
You need it
in my heart, forever and always.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's as natural as the spring water.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, the fact that they let that thing slip out of their hands for a company like Comcast is just bullshit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not good support over there for those friends.
Oh, absolutely terrible.
If you guys are just tuning in for the first time to our channel, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button for us. Appreciate the support. Hit the like button so we continue trending out there before this race kicks off in a bit here.
Especially neat Mike for president.
Yeah, come on in, Mike. He kind of got silenced after Alex hit him with some stats there, just silenced him.
It's because slob stats, boy. We're getting dirty with the numbers.
Yeah. Alex gets in bed with them numbers, man. Don't even mess with this guy.
He's out here trading paint with neat Mike for president. That's my favorite NASCAR.
I like that.
Trading paint. That's good. Yeah.
All right. Brooklyn also wants to know, is Bubba Wallace a bad play today?
So again, it depends on which format you're using. So if you're looking for a value play in a DFS, someone who's going to make up a couple positions from where they race and potentially get a couple fast laps, great. But in a monkey knife fight, of course, we don't see a Bubba Wallace in the lineup, so of course it's not viable here. But if you're looking for a win or a top 3, Bubba's not going to be your guy. Potentially a long shot top 10 if it becomes a strategy or a gas mileage race, but Bubba was again in the second 2/3 of the field consistently, and it's a one team and one car team, so doesn't have a lot of the support and infrastructure and notes that the Hendricks and the Gibbs have of the world.
I dig it, man. All right, let's get into the big boy contest, shall we?
Let's do it.
The 12x you're buying. Now, I found it funny. You tried to hedge your bet here, and you got blocked by the Monkey Knife Fight gods. Am I correct here?
Yes.
You are not allowed to hedge your bets here. You only get one 12x play.
Yes, that's what I believe that's the case. So we're gonna go big here. I'm gonna pull up my bets because I can't remember off the top of my head, so I don't sound like a bush leaguer.
All right, so to win 12x you're
Bush
buying.
League is a good place to be, though.
It is a good place. So you got you're buying for $100 here. You could win yourself 1,200. Make sure you use our code there. I'll put it in the comments as well, so you can get a deposit bonus. But if you pick 5 of 5 correctly here, in terms of more or less, you're going to win 12 times your buy-in. So basically, it's starting with Harvick and Keselowski again. We said over earlier on both of these guys. Are you sticking with it?
Sticking with it.
Yep.
Sticking with it. All right. So Elliott is 15.5. In this scenario where you only get one shot and you can't hedge your bet, are you still taking less?
I think I lied to you. You can make double bets here. I may have been looking at the UI improperly. So I just added another 12x bet here, and in both I have Chase over 15.5.
Okay. So
I sold it pretty hard under that last one. I'm second guessing myself now, but these are locked in. We're gonna go 15.5 over on these big 12 multipliers for Monkey Knife Fight.
I mean, life's too short to bet the under sometimes, you know?
Why the sudden change of heart?
I want to see more racing from the top from the top series guys. I want to see racers like Chase Elliott and like Hamlin and Busch and Harvick and Keselowski up front, because I think that's really where the best racing is going to come. And hopefully we can speak it into existence by betting the over on a lot more of these guys than the under.
So the fourth leg there would be Logano. Are we going to stick with the over? 14.5 is low.
Yes, over.
All right.
I think every time we've looked at Logano, we've been over on him, correct? At 14.5.
Yeah, we've been over.
We've been riding Logano's over here all day.
Yep. So and this to kind of break down the 14.5 points too. I mean, even if he finishes 6th place or better, he doesn't have to lead a lap to get that. So looking back at his recent success and trajectory, even on some of these strategy plays and these handoffs between green flag pit stops, if he leads 5 to 10 laps, that really opens up a little bit of finishing position. So I think a top 10 finish, much like Harvick, with anywhere from 30 to 40 laps led, is extremely viable for Logano.
I like that viable drop right there.
What about viable? Kurt Busch? 14.5 is our 5th guy to round us out here.
Yeah. I've been jumping back and forth on Kurt. What do you think, Bucky?
It's a tweener zone for me, man. He's right. If things go right for the Busch Bros, sure, we're good to go. But if things go sour for the Busch Bros, all of a sudden we're sitting there thinking there are a lot of viable competitors around that spot that are going to lead for more laps. I'm going to go under. I really think of Kyle Busch will finish above Kurt Busch in this particular race. So I'm going to say under, just because I really believe that Kyle Busch is in a better position, and I'm going to go off that. But you never really know in this goddamn NASCAR world. You know,
there's so much unknown.
No, Ryan Blaney's going to win the race. Let's be honest here. It's going to come out.
Are you answering Ward's question? Ward asked us, who's the winner? Are you picking Blaney here? That's your guy?
I have a feeling about Blaney, man.
Really?
I like the 7 spot is so ripe.
He's in a Ford. He's got some horses under that hood too.
If I'm gonna pick a winner today, it will be Ryan Blaney.
Oh, well, hitting us with the hot stuff. That's awesome. Okay, those are 2 great picks. Who's your second here, Bucky? If you don't have
Kenseth, buddy.
Yes,
he's coming back.
I would love to see that. I would love to see it. And Ward, to give you the third here, I'm heavy on Harvick to win today. But I think both Harvick and Keselowski are going to have very strong days just because of their relative starting position and relative success. So I think Fords will prevail. I've tweeted this a couple times, some folks poking and prodding, but I think it'll be a Ford and Bowman show, especially with Ford taking up 7 of the top 10 starting positions, with numbers being on those guys' sides historically. So that's where I'm looking.
I dig it, man. So I was looking through some of these. I mean, there's a ton of different monkey knife fight contests that you can play based on a lot of the same combinations we've given you. So we went through the 12x. You know, there's a 5x your buy-in where you have to get 4 out of 4. There's 3.5x your buy-in where you have to get 3 out of 3. So depending on how risky you want to get, we're pretty much the same on all of our plays here, or drivers. I would say the one where we kind of hedged ourselves a little bit was with Chase Elliott. And his was at 15.5 fantasy points. And again, if you guys are just tuning in, you get a 1/10 of a point for leading each lap. And starting with first, you get 20 points down to 1 point for 20th place. So look.
And for all the folks out there who are coming in, who are new to DFS and NASCAR, pay special attention to the scoring on every platform. You know, Monkey Knife Fight has a lot of value put in finishing position as well as laps led. If you look at other platforms, they have different scoring layouts that may impact starting and finishing position. So if you have a Bubba Wallace who starts towards the back of the pack, who is a very value pick, who you are confident will finish 10 to 15 spots ahead of where he is, you may not be picking that driver to win, but you're picking that driver to have a consistent finish so they do not negatively impact your score. So be very conscious of the scoring schedules that are present in these different platforms, because they will get you very quickly.
Absolutely, man. So I noticed you had in here as well, like if you're just doing regular old gambling, whether you're in New Jersey or Vegas or wherever sports gambling is legal these days, who knows? You can bet on top 10, top 3, obviously to win. I like to bet on the winners because it's such a long shot, right? Like Chase Elliott, for example, today is plus 900, but the top 3s are nice, man. You can win some good money on those.
Betting winners is insane.
Well, if you're just throwing a nickel or something on it, depends on what your minimum bet is.
Of all the sports out there, there are so many variables in NASCAR compared to, say, hey, basketball, they have LeBron James, they're favored. He's the best player on the court. There's not going to be a wreck that completely derails LeBron James. Like, it's not going to happen, right? And that's what it boils down to me. Betting a winner it's absolutely tough. It's just tough.
But as a degenerate, the odds are just so appealing, man.
Appealing.
Oh, so appealing, because for reason too, for a good reason.
And there are so many great picks out there too. And when I'm looking at winners who are tickling my pocket, if you will, I think a Chase Elliott's a good bet. I think a Truex is a good bet. But then if you're looking even beyond the thousands, we talked about Eric Jones earlier this week. Eric Jones is someone who has won here in a race that was a little bit unconventional, very hard fought, some strategy involved. So he has some success. And again, if you look over the last 4 races, small sample size, but he is still the highest rated driver on the field, much like a quarterback rating. You see an Eric Jones at the top of the list if you compare him to all drivers of the past 3 or 4 years here.
Who are some of the guys you like if people are out there just straight gambling, whatever, if they're on DraftKings or through their sports book, whatever, anyone you like that's kind of a long shot to finish in the top 10?
Yeah, we mentioned this very briefly earlier. Tyler Reddick is kind of a driver who really succeeds at a style like this. Hard fighting. He knows when to push it and when to wait for his opportunity. He's a fresh face in this series. He's a rookie.
He's my Busch Light guy. He's my Busch Light guy. Yeah.
Yes, he just came up in the Busch series. I think at 175, top 10 odds are a good bet. And that may be able to pad your pockets to take some chance on like a Matt DiBenedetto or a Byron to win at 3,000 plus odds.
I dig that. What else you guys got?
I don't know, Bucky. What are your hot takes about some back of the pack winners here? Do you think someone outside of the regular norm even has a shot to lead over 20 or 30 laps here?
No, I honestly think it's going to be pretty chalk.
Yep. I agree. And we could be totally wrong. And honestly, I wouldn't be upset if we were wrong. I would love to see some of these, some of the strategy and some of the unknown really take hold of this race and give us something that we weren't expecting. And I would gladly be wrong for all these bets to just see some awesome entertainment. But I'm very confident in the Harvicks and the Keselowskis achieving today, and this veteran wit really prevailing over some of these the small mistakes that will end your day at Darlington. You know, the small snap loose and pushing off the corner. You don't have a lot of space to recover here at Darlington like you do at a lot of other tracks. So it catches up to you a lot quicker.
Yeah, and it will. And the thing that I look forward to most is I want to hear the roar of the engines. Oof, that's all I care about right now.
Yes, every horsepower.
It's 3:23. We're 30 minutes from the time that they drop that flag, and we're cruising.
Yes.
You know, we might have tilted things a little bit here on the Monkey Knife Fight platform because Harvick has now increased to 18.5 fantasy points. So people are jumping on the Harvick train here. It's gone from 17.5. We are shifting the line here.
Alex Freeman, what are you doing, pal?
Oh, I gave him the 18.5 number. Uh-oh.
Oh man, they are listening. They're out there listening to us, and they are moving the line here because of the Back of the Pack podcast on Fantasy Focus.
Market makers, baby, let's do it.
Hey, hopefully money makers.
Right? Yes, right. And hey, man, the time has flown by. So if you guys are targeting some live action, actually Fox picks up their live broadcast in just a few minutes. Like we said, 3:30 is the scheduled start of the race. You'll see the drivers make it to their car around 3:40. The green flag will drop around 3:53 Eastern time. And again, expect a lot of different looks on NASCAR this weekend. We're going to be live. Well, not live, but I'll be on Twitter engaging with some folks and glad to answer any kind of questions that anyone has about additional odds or any kind of winners or value picks too, if that's on top of
Where
mind.
Can they find you on Twitter, Alex?
Back OT Pack, shorthand for Back of the Pack, which is the podcast, the podcast crew you're listening to now, with the abbreviated and adjusted schedule here with NASCAR up and coming. Levy and I will be recording our weekly Back of the Pack podcast on Tuesday to foreshadow Wednesday's Darlington race here. So not only are we going to have some action here today at Darlington, we have some Busch Series, right, Bucky, action on Tuesday, as well as Cup Series back on Wednesday at the same track. So we got a lot of action to cover. Awesome NASCAR just news to cover and just more live action to be a part of. And I can't wait.
Well, thank you all for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been great to pick your brain, Alex. And I can't wait for this race. I'll be honest. I have about 12 Budweisers lined up. I'm ready to rock for the next 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Kick this thing in the ass.
Let's do it. Loud noises, left turns.
Oh, thank goodness we're
trading paint.
Trading paint.
Trading paint. Chase, turn left real good. You know?
Yes. So we'll be I'm excited actually to see after today how things look headed into Wednesday. We'll be live again Tuesday night, probably at 7:00 Eastern time. To go over Darlington Wednesday race back-to-back at Darlington. I'm excited about that. First time coming across our channel. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, like the video, follow us on all forms of social media at BackOTPack. And if you want to play Monkey Knife Fight and get in on some of these winners, make sure you're using the code FOCUSED when you check out for a $50 deposit bonus, or you can follow the link in the description of this video. Let's make some money today, boys. Let's get back to live racing. Good luck out there. Till next time.
We're going green.
Yeah. We're going green. Alex Freeman is the smartest man I ever met.